Her ship left without her, and when she whispered, "Am I that worthless?" Beginning. The hangar was vast, echoing with the roar of engines preparing for launch. The frigate Kestrel Dawn hovered above the docking clamps, glowing blue thrusters humming in sync. Crew in sleek gray uniforms hustled to secure supplies and run last checks. Cadet Lyra Soren sprinted to the metallic corridors, boots clanging against steel. She clutched her datapad tight to her chest. This mission, her first away from the academy, was supposed to be her chance to prove herself. But as she burst into the docking bay, the airlock was already sealed. The clamps released, hydraulics hissed, and the Kestrel Dawn began its ascent into the void. "Wait! I'm here! I'm here!" Lyra shouted, her voice drowned in the thunder of engines. She stumbled forward, breathless, watching as the frigate slipped through the bay doors. And then it was gone, leaving her behind. Her hands trembled. The silence after the launch was worse than the roar of engines. It felt deliberate, like the ship had abandoned her. She lowered her head, strands of black hair falling into her eyes, and whispered to herself, "Am I that worthless?" The sound of her own voice echoed in the cavernous bay, fragile and small. Middle. Stranded. The hangar lights dimmed as the launch sequence completed. Lyra leaned against a bulkhead, the datapad slipping from her hands. Her chest burned with humiliation. She had studied tirelessly at the academy. Astrophysics, xenolinguistics, survival tactics. She wasn't the top cadet, but she was capable. Yet the crew of the Kestrel Dawn, her assigned vessel, had chosen to leave without her. Or had they? Lyra activated her wristcom, but no connection reached the frigate, either deliberate jamming or distance beyond range. She checked the station schedule. The Kestrel Dawn wasn't due to depart for another 20 minutes. Something was wrong. That's when she noticed movement at the edge of the hangar. A figure emerged from the shadows, tall, angular, armored in dull obsidian plating. It wasn't human. Its elongated head tilted, luminous amber eyes studying her. "Abandoned," the alien said in a voice that resonated like vibrating glass. "As they abandoned us." Lyra stiffened. "W's were you?" The alien stepped closer, revealing the insignia of the Threx Dominion, a species humanity had only recently signed a fragile peace with. "I am Kalen," it said, inclining its head slightly. "Prisoner. Exile. Perhaps mirror." Lyra's training screamed at her to call security, but something in Kalen's tone, the strange resonance of sorrow, stilled her hand. "You were left," Kalen said, "as my people were left to die in the Outram Wars." Lyra swallowed hard. The Kestrel Dawn hadn't just abandoned her randomly. They had departed early because something was happening, something that connected to the aliens standing before her. A hidden plot, Kalen explained in fragments. The Kestrel Dawn was no ordinary frigate. Its captain carried secret orders to deliver a prototype weapon to the Dominion border, a weapon that could fracture the fragile peace. "They rushed to deliver destruction," Kalen said. "And you were not meant to be aboard." Lyra's chest tightened. Her exclusion hadn't been negligence. It had been intentional. She wasn't trusted. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked. "Because," Kalen replied, "worthless things are ignored, but dangerous things are left behind." The words cut deep. Lyra faced a choice. Slink back to her quarters and accept the humiliation or act. The academy drilled obedience, but her heart screamed for something greater. She straightened. "If what you say is true, then I can't just let them deliver that weapon." Kalen's amber eyes glowed faintly. "Then you will need me." Into the derelict. The only ship left docked was a derelict freighter. Rusted hull, cracking souls, half its systems offline. A relic from before Lyra was born. Lyra and Kalen worked in uneasy silence to power it up. Sparks rained as she reconnected coolant lines. Kalen's long claws danced over alien interface modules, bridging Dominion tech with human wiring in ways Lyra never imagined. "You know," she said cautiously, "helping me stop your enemies doesn't make sense." Kalen tilted its head. "My enemies are not your crew. My enemies are those who hunger for endless war." For the first time, Lyra saw something beyond the armor, a being scarred by betrayal, as she was. The freighter's engines rumbled weakly, but it was enough. As the station receded behind them, Lyra set a course to intercept the Kestrel Dawn. The chase. Catching a military frigate with an antique freighter was like chasing a starship with a rowboat. Lyra pushed the engines to redline, alarms blaring. Sweat dripped down her brow as she wrestled controls. Kalen monitored the sensors. They will reach the border in 3 cycles. You must stop them before then. And how exactly do we do that? Lyra snapped. Bore them with this bucket? Kalen extended a claw, tapping the console. Not bored. Reveal. The alien explained. The Dominion was monitoring border traffic closely. If Lyra could broadcast Kestrel Dawn's illegal weapon cargo, Dominion and human peacekeepers alike would be forced to act. But they won't listen to me, Lyra muttered. I'm just a cadet. Kalen leaned close, its glowing eyes locking with hers. Then you must become more. The word sent a shiver through her. Betrayal confirmed. Hours into pursuit, Lyra finally cracked the encrypted logs on her datapad. The truth spilled across the screen. Admiral Rennick himself had authorized a mission, bypassing Council oversight. The Kestrel Dawn was smuggling a stellar fracture device, a weapon capable of destabilizing suns. Her stomach turned. If used, it wouldn't just shatter peace. It would annihilate entire star systems. Kalen's voice rumbled low. Do you see now? Worthless you are not. They feared what you would discover. Lyra clenched her fists. She wasn't worthless. She had been silenced because she mattered too much. The boarding. The freighter wasn't fast enough to overtake. But Lyra had another idea. She powered down everything, appearing as debris, and drifted directly into the Kestrel Dawn's path. The frigate's tractor beam snagged them. Crew prepared to tow the derelict aside, but that gave Lyra and Kalen the opening they needed. Inside the docking bay, chaos erupted when Lyra strode out in her cadet uniform, alive, defiant, with a Dominion warrior at her side. Cadet Soren? A crewman gasped. Captain Jera. Lyra's voice rang across the bay. By order of the Galactic Council, I demand you halt this mission. The captain appeared, her expression icy. You shouldn't be here. That's right, Lyra shot back. Because you tried to leave me behind. Kalen's amber eyes gleamed, scanning the room for threats. Confrontation. Lyra projected the decrypted logs across the hangar screens. Crew members stared as the truth unfolded. Illegal orders, the stellar fracture device, the Admiral scheme. Murmurs of dissent rippled. You doom billions for power. Lyra shouted. This isn't loyalty, it's treason. Captain Jera's hand went to her sidearm. You don't understand. Cadet, peace is weakness. Only strength ensures survival. But half the crew hesitated. Some lowered their weapons. Shaken by Lyra's conviction, Kalen stepped forward, towering. Strength without honor is ash. Your kind taught us that. The captain snarled and aimed her weapon, and Lyra moved. She lunged, striking the captain's wrist, sending the weapon clattering. Adrenaline surged through her veins. For once, she wasn't watching from the sidelines. She acted, ending, aftermath. With the crew divided, the mutiny was swift. Loyalists secured Captain Jera in the brig. The Kestrel Dawn was turned from the border and placed under investigation. Lyra's testimony, backed by Kalen's presence, forced the council to act. Admiral Rennick was exposed. The Stellar Fracture Project was dismantled before it could ignite a war. For days afterward, Lyra struggled with what had happened. She replayed the moment the ship had left without her, the whisper on her lips. Am I that worthless? Now, sitting in her quarters aboard the Kestrel Dawn, this time as a recognized officer, not a discarded cadet, she finally understood. She wasn't left behind because she was worthless. She was left because she had worth. Because her conscience, her defiance, her voice was a threat to those who thrived on silence. Kalen stood at the viewport beside her. The alien's reflection gleamed in starlight. You carry the weight of betrayal well, it said. Lyra smiled faintly. Not betrayal. A lesson? What lesson is that? She turned to face the endless stars. That worth isn't given by a crew or an admiral or even a ship. Worth is what you decide it is. And I decide I'm not done yet. Kalen inclined its head. Then neither am I. Together, they watched the stars wheel past. The galaxy was still fragile, still teetering between peace and war. But Lyra no longer feared abandonment. She had found her voice, and with it, her worth.